smaller birds going after the bigger raptors.
Yes.
I actually watched a couple of ospreys beating up on a bald eagle last year, and I don't think the eagle went home that evening.
Oh,
It was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
They were pretty hard on him.
wow. Usually it's the other way around. It's the bald that steals the fish from the osprey.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a story also. I was walking this route that I walk, and I'm very tuned into crows. I really like crows. Only because I don't see a lot of ravens. But I was hearing these crows make a racket. And I have learned that when they're making a racket, something is going
That's
on.
right.
So I started looking around, and they were actually harassing an eagle sitting in a tree.
Yeah.
And the eagle just kind of lifted off and flew off, not in a big hurry, and the crows kind of, were after him and making noise and stuff. And I contacted the people at Thorn Craig's Bird Sanctuary and said, is this something that we need to be concerned about? And he said the crows were just having some fun. That's all they were doing.
They did what they wanted to. They drove them
Drove them
off.
away, yeah.
And so that's their goal.
I found a great one dead at the bottom of the tree with a broken neck, and I tried to take it somewhere to get it stuffed to give it to a community center, and nobody would do that. If I find a large bird, is it still against the law to try to taxiderm it and give it to a...
Need special permits. The reason for that is that people used to kill birds for feathers. Remember the feather plumes and the feather pens? And finally the people of the United States approached the government and said, will you protect these birds? We're losing them. And so the government enacted the Migratory Species Protection Act, and they protect the birds. So we have to take all molted feathers and send them in at the end of the year. The eagle feathers are sent to Colorado for distribution for Native Americans for accomplishments. So it's a heavy fine to have feathers, even blue jay feathers.
Contact us at Prince Remy Bay. We have the permits. If we want the specimen, we used it in our interactive education program.
Wonderful.
And you walk down, as Hope would know, you walk into school even with the dead stuff down one. It's like a vacuum cleaner sucking the kids out of the classroom. They just so miss that kind of contact. It's great.
I hated burying it. It just seemed wrong. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about eagles, golden eagles. Golden eagles are found all throughout the world. Yes. Yep. No, they don't. A bald eagle would take a raven out. Golden eagles are amazing. This is Skywalker that's going to come out. He's 22 years old. He is from Nebraska. I understand that we have a pair. A biologist told me we have a pair of Goldens in Katahdin. Yes?
We typically have like one pair. There was a pair in Damerscott a few years ago. So
Yes, I
maybe
heard
one
that.
in Katahdin now.
And also, last weekend, I think there was a golden that was migrating through Scarborough. Oh, there you are, at the landfill. They are confused often with an immature, we'll take questions in a minute. They're confused often with an immature bald because they're brown, and people see an immature bald and think that it's a golden. Skywalker was flying the skies way up high when somebody picked up a gun and shot him right out of the sky. He landed hard. And if you have ever had a serious medical diagnosis or lost a loved one, you know what it feels like to be shot right out of the sky. But every time I get angry at somebody that would take out an eagle, I think about all of the people that have come into this bird's life with health and kindness because somebody rescued him. It was a gentleman that had training. He had a heavy blanket, gloves. He was able to safely get this eagle to a veterinarian. She cared greatly for this golden eagle, but to save his life, she had to amputate his right wing. Loss of flight, freedom, balance, and heat forever. And this was 22 years ago. Nowadays, that would be an automatic euthanasia, but back then, the government allowed a wing amputation of a raptor. He, it's euthanasia now because balance is such a serious problem, and they fall often, and they do lose heat. I originally fought that regulation with the government, but I do understand how serious it is for a one-winged raptor. It's a serious disadvantage. So this bird was sent to a rehabilitation center in Nebraska. Going through intensive care and rehabilitation, he became angry. He didn't want to be touched anymore. He didn't want any more medical treatments. He didn't want anybody to approach him. And he was just angry. He was getting dangerous. But he was healing. So they called us way across the United States because we have a very different approach to training. We never withhold food. We train by reading to them. These are birds that are not used to being close to people. And so we check out library books and read to them and talk to them. They're free lofted in their aviary. They can be anywhere they want to be. Sky arrived, and he chose to be as far away from me as he possibly could be. He chose a shelf that was about eye height, stumps going up to it, handicapped ramps. He was able to work his way safely up. And he turned his back on me. If you've ever been confronted by an angry eagle, you would know it. You know, they bend down, and he was just really angry. So I would feed him. I didn't want him to worry about food. Falconry is a whole different thing because those are birds that are flighted. Our birds usually can't fly anymore. So I didn't want to withhold food and have a bird be anxious about that. They're fed early in the morning, whether they learn something or not that day. And they can be up high. High would be up eye height. So began by reading to him and talking to him and singing to him. And that's a very peculiar thing because he started singing back. He sounds a little like a foghorn. But it's, you know, it is melodic to me. And he turned around. So I knew that we had to put anklets on him. We had to trim his nails. We had to have him stay